Previously on the road to Tekken 8, information on the timeline before Tekken and the timeline during Tekken was explained, and then it continues.
Two years later.
After defeating his father, Kazuya took over the financial group, but did illegal and dangerous things.
This is illegal, you know.
Thank you, Pac-Man. Anyway, Kazuya did many illegal operations and the company became more powerful and corrupt than ever before. These include kidnapping, extortion, Eddie's father was killed during this time, and taking animal species, which led into the creation of Alex, aka Tekken's version of Lizard Man, and the infamous Roger Jr. Devil is taking over Kazuya's mind and body.
Meanwhile,
Heihachi climbed back up and survived with no bones. Wow, cartoon logic hits hard in video games, and goes into hiding to train and meditate. The devil taunted Kazuya to announce the second King of Iron Fist tournament.
several bad puns later.
An animal activist from the wildlife organization, Jun Kazama, tries to arrest Kazuya for illegal operations. However, due to something supernatural that causes them to get together with Kazuya impregnating Jun, went to turn fragmented his own mind with Angel and the devil. Horrified that his father was returned, he told Jun goodbye and is ready to face his father, who is now powerful. The battle was extremely fierce, but Kazuya transforms into a devil as a last resort, but alas, he failed. Hey! Heihachi decided to put him in a volcano to make sure the devil does not come back. And now that the devil is gone, Heihachi decided to partner with the United Nations in order to create the Tekken Force, sending them allow the globe settles disputes and bring wasteland into cultivation. And this game supports world leaders and decided to continue making peace for making Powerhouse Empire with diplomatic measures. Now let's go over the characters on how they progressed in this game. First, let's go over King. After winning third place in the first tournament, an orphan died within King's care, and depressed and enraged, King threw away his jaguar mask and ran away. Armor King was worried about his rival and went in search of him. And after a long and tiring day of searching and finding no clues as to where King may be, he found him in an alleyway behind a bar. Armor King saw how his friend's life had crumbled and convinced him to return to the orphanage in order to take care of the kids who were still in need of him. And Armor King also convinced him to resume training for the King of the Iron Fist Tournament 2. In the previous tournament, martial law would draw against a very old man named Wang Jinrei, and Law would go home and almost felt hopeless after his failed task in winning. However, Manji clan leader Yoshimitsu came storming into Law's poor neighborhood and gave money to Marshall and the other poor residents within the small area. And Law would use the money he received and fulfilled his dream in owning his dojo, but not after thanking Yoshimitsu for his generosity. And for some reason, Law ran his own martial arts dojo, and unfortunately, his students were attacked and severely injured by a Taekwondo teacher who was participating in the King of Iron Fist Tournament 2. So Law decided to enter the tournament to avenge his students and to restore the reputation of his gym. For Michelle, Kazuya wants the pendant that Michelle wears around her neck, since it carries the secret to a great treasure, and Michelle's mother has now been kidnapped by Kazuya's men to ensure Michelle's participation in the tournament. And Michelle vows to rescue her mother at all costs. For Nina Williams, she was the assassin of the people of Ireland, and although Nina's mission is to assassinate Kazuya Mishima, her personal agenda is to finally settle the long battle with her sister, Anna. When Paul Phoenix was a young boy, he idolized Willie Bear Killer Williams, and now that he has grown up, he has become a prominent world warrior. And despite his success over the ferocious Kuma in the previous tournament, Paul didn't have the strength needed to capture the championship, and one day, while devoting himself to training with his eternal sparring partner and friend Martial Law, information about a new tournament being held arrived. And with his sights set on becoming the world's best, the universe's, Paul decides to take part in the tournament. For Yoshimitsu, he learned that the scientist Dr. Boskanovich, who once saved his life, has been abducted by Kazuya Mishima, and to rescue Boskanovich, he entered the King of the Iron Fist Tournament 2. For Anna Williams, her dislike for her father and sister has gradually increased, and as expected, the rivalry between her sister and herself continues. And to call her rivalry mere quarrels would still be an understatement, and their rivalry has evaluated to the next level, and Nina has tried to take Anna out by attaching a bomb to her sister's car, and Anna has returned her favor with a machine gun fire tearing through Nina's bedroom. For Armor King, after the events of the King of Iron Fist tournament, he disappeared from the professional fighting world. However, he would have his limelight in the underground rings, and after some time, Armor King heard news from the orphanage that King had gone missing because of financial difficulties and a child's death in his care. And worried about his old friend, he went out in search of him and found him in an alleyway mentally broken. He gave his rival his jaguar mask and convinced him to get back into the fighting spirit just in time for the King of Iron Fist tournament 2. Ganryu, a gifted Rikishi, was the youngest sumo wrestler in the history of the sport promoted to be Uzeki champion rank. He also, without a doubt, the strongest wrestler in the world of sumo, but due to his unacceptable conduct, and he was not promoted to the rank of Yokozuna, and believing a real man, the world's strongest man, walks the road to the ring and does grand things, and Ganryu decides to join the tournament once again. And during the last tournament, the unthinkable happened when he came across a fighter named Michelle Chang, and it was love at first sight. And rumor has it that he begged Kazuya to set things up so that he could confess his love to her. Heihachi's pet, Kuma, uses martial arts created just for it by Heihachi himself. And Heihachi's Kuma Shinken, Kuma, a hot-blooded bear, wants nothing more than to tear Paul to shreds. And knowing that there are far stronger opponents the world over, Kuma, along with its master Heihachi, trains diligently in their secluded mountain retreat. And for reasons unknown, Kuma is intelligent. It understands perfectly the languages of men. With thoughts of attacking Paul on its mind, Kuma has decided to take part in the tournament. For Kunimitsu, the sword in Yoshimitsu's keep, the katana enchanted Yoshimitsu severes the life force of its enemies, and it seems that a commandment among the Manji party dictates that the current leader of the group must kill the former teacher with the sword when a change of leadership is at heart. And no matter how many times Kunimitsu's grandfather, a swordsmith, tried to forge his sword as precious as the katana, the enchanted Yoshimitsu, he was unsuccessful. And believing her frail grandfather desires to make a high-quality katana before his death, Kunimitsu decides to join the tournament in order to seize Yoshimitsu's blade. Lee Chaolun, Heihachi Mishima's adopted son, had the same imperialistic teachings that were driven into him, and those teachings drove him to master the martial arts. And though Chaolun was clever and skilled in the martial arts, he was ultimately defeated by Kazuya, destroying him mentally and physically. And secluding himself in the mountains, Chaolun trained diligently, rashly, and his talented techniques became less and less precise as he became more and more absorbed in his training. And just when he had given up all hope, a mysterious old man appeared before him and made him an offer he couldn't refuse. In exchange for his tutelage, Chaolun would have done something for him. And determined to face Kazuya once more, Chaolun has decided to take part in the tournament to take Kazuya out, even if it kills him. Prototype Jack is an android built for military applications, and he's solicited Kazuya's assistance with upgrades after learning that its only successor, Jack, was making advances in that area. And for reasons beyond its understanding, Kazuya promptly agrees and has Dr. Boskanovich comply with the android's request. And unbeknownst to it, the only changes made were to its outer shell, which now has armor plated. Prototype Jack despises both Jack and its developers, namely Russia, and recent overrides of its own CPU has resulted in memory loss, causing Prototype Jack even more grief. Wang Jinrei is an old friend of Jinpachi Mishima, the father of Heihachi Mishima and the grandfather of Kazuya Mishima. Wang had seen the way of Kazuya and Heihachi abuse and corrupted the Mishima Yaibatsu, and Wang later becomes Lee Chaolun's instructor and convinces him to help him bring honor back to the empire. Jun Kazama is an officer of the WWC, a wildlife protection organization, and she is highly spiritual and can sense the mysterious powers surrounding Kazuya. And besides her duty to arrest Kazuya, who smuggles protected animals, she wants to free Kazuya of his evil power during the tournament. We're heavily sorry for her disappearance. Lei Wulong is the #1 detective of the Hong Kong police force, and his partner was killed by the international mafia. He finds information linking Kazuya to his mafia and enters the tournament to try to bust Kazuya and crush his organization. The research team developing the strongest animals for military use for Kazuya has created a ferocious life form using dinosaur DNA found in insects trapped in amber. Missing DNA strands were spliced with that of kangaroos, and it doesn't appear to be fully developed yet, as its combat capabilities are identical to that of Roger's. However, Alex has been hypothesized that once it reaches maturity, it will be the strongest living creature on the planet. Meet Baek Do-san, a master of Taekwondo, is the son of the former Taekwondo champion, and during his childhood, his father received a career-ending injury. Devastated, his father turned to alcohol and became a heavy drinker, which ultimately led to his incarceration. Plunged into a life of poverty, the young master's family was forced to deal with hard times, and just when things looked as if they couldn't get any worse, his mother disappeared, leaving him and his siblings alone. Not too long after that, his father escaped from prison to assist the family, but due to his deprivation of proper nourishment, Beck mistakenly killed his father, a man he respected above all else, and the frightening experience left him traumatized, driving him crazy every time he saw blood, like Flippy from Happy Tree Friends suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. When the police found him, they took him into their care and raised him, and years later he found himself walking the path of his late father, a Taekwondo master and champion. But unfortunately, a person knowing the truth about his father's death ultimately threatened to go public with the truth of his past if he didn't destroy the blackmailer's competition. The attack on the martial arts school, martial law took place while the school instructor was away, and a confrontation between Baek Do-san and martial law is inevitable. Meet Bruce Irvin, invincible fighter. He lost both of his parents and elder brother in his infancy, and he grew up living a life plagued by hunger and much violence. Just like in the cards fate had dealt him, Bruce yearned to live the good life, and his resolve made him a very much strong fighter. And he was a kickboxing perfectioner. And he went to Thailand to compete in the Muay Thai kickboxing tournament. And his performance destroyed the former popular champion's hopes of ever returning. And as a result, a Muay Thai gambling organization put out a contact on Bruce's life. And while on board a returning flight home, the contract killer attempted to take Bruce's life. But an investigator of Hong Kong's International Police Force, who was also on the flight, thwarted his efforts, and a brawl ensued. When it was over, the plane went down. A unit from Kazuya's facilities later rescued Bruce, who had been surviving off of human remains for several months. And meet Roger. When Kazuya built his private military force, he didn't have his sights set only on humans, but animals as well. And thus the development of animals for military use moved forward. And the research team for the development of animals for military use conducted tests using drugs and DNA manipulation. And as a result, Roger came to have more mobility than the usual kangaroo, and he jumped 23 meters on one occasion and ran as fast as 60 kilometers. And since the announcement of the martial arts tournament, the kangaroo, Roger, continuously waits for anything to mistakenly enter his territory in order to obliterate it. As an android working for the military, Jack 2 is an improvement over the old Jack from the previous tournament. And with a new computer chip, he has the ability to learn from his mistakes, and Jack wants to save his creator from Kazuya so that he can become more human than ever before.
This video is a pain more than it should have, so I'm splitting it into 2 parts.
Hey, don't forget!
Don't forget to subscribe!
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.